So, carrying forward the discourse on career pathways in foreign languages, we are honored to be joined by a distinguished guest whose erudition and expertise in the domain of foreign languages stand as a beacon of knowledge. Dr. Pallavi joins us today, bringing a wealth of expertise and insight from Tezpur University, where her contributions in German literature and language, literature encompassing emotions and violence, Holocaust literature, post-war literature and comparative literature have been both illuminating and profound. So welcome ma'am. Your area of interest is so vast and so interesting, and we cannot wait to move ahead with the session today. So we'd like to start with a little your introduction in your own words, a little about your academic journey until you became a professor of Tezpur University.
Professor, assistant professor.
Assistant professor.
And
Yes.
yeah, here at Tezpur University. So I started my journey as someone who was passionate about language. So I started learning language. My first institution was Maximar Bhavan. So
Okay.
there I did 2 semesters, and then I got to know that in JNU you can actually enroll yourself, and if you are interested in to have deeper insights into language. So I chose that, went to JNU, did my BA, and then afterwards I would give my professors the credit, their teaching methodologies and the environment there.
Okay.
I started pursuing my master's again in German studies, focusing on literature, MPhil, and then PhD also. And in between, I got also the opportunity to visit Germany several times for my research works. So during my MA and MPhil, I have visited Free University Berlin twice, and then I got another scholarship, University of Würzburg. Then for my PhD, 1 year scholarship that I have availed through the foundation, Hans Seidel Foundation, for my research work, and I was at University of Cologne.
Okay.
So that's my journey so far, and I came here because along with literature, language, I also find that teaching is my passion. So that was my first assignment here as a teacher, and I'm here since then. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful journey. So many experiences. I think that visiting places also give you a lot of.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In German, there is a term for that. It's called Wandererjahre.
Okay.
So you don't pursue your career one after another. So you give yourself time. You wander around. You just look and explore your interests, and you come back again and enroll in a program. So that's what I did after my 12th, and I landed up here.
Beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
So about that, what was the one factor that especially pushed you to take up German?
I don't know, because I don't have very clear-cut answer to that.
Okay.
I think German chose me, the language chose me. And along the way, I also started, reading literary texts. So there, because I was always interested in literature. So when you just read and enjoy literature, it's a different thing.
Okay.
And when
Before
you,
you knew the language, you started reading German literature?
No. That access I never had. I was reading literary text in Hindi, in English for instance. So I was interested in literature. But the way it was taught there in JNU during my masters, I think that was a push for me, because already I was interested in literary texts, and then not just reading but studying, having deeper insight into the text. So I think there I knew that this is the domain
This
that
is
I
your
would like. Yeah.
call. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you pursued that in JNU, and after that you also did your PhD and everything. So what did you observe about the popularity amongst the people, amongst the students?
Okay, so for higher studies, it's a different thing. I would say I can count people's name who did their PhDs in German studies, but I have seen people interested in learning the basics of language. For instance, when I came here also I saw students maybe from various other disciplines, engineering, sciences, or maybe studying social work or sociology. So they wanted to opt for German, and when I asked them, so few had very concrete answer, few were just trying to figure out if they would be interested. So there is a larger crowd always there who is interested in exploring language. And my experience so far has been, once you are into learning a foreign language, you also reflect upon yours, which is their
Your own language.
your own language, your own culture, and you also start, you know, looking at the grammatical structures of your language. For instance, an Assamese speaker here in Assam might not be able to explain the grammatical structures of the language, but in my class I always ask them to, can you just explain that, if that feature exists in your language.
Okay.
And they taught me, for instance, if I could quote some examples, like all the names of colors in Assamese.
Okay.
So it's
yeah,
not just one way of learning and teaching, it's like two way.
information exchange and
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So have you any fun facts or any interesting facts about the language, about German in particular you would like to share?
You mean to say anecdote or anything?
Anything, any story if you want to share, or any trivia about the language.
So I will just talk about this experience of teaching
Yes,
here
absolutely.
in the Northeast India. So, for instance, a person like me, when I first came here, I did not have much knowledge about this region. So
Okay.
I had this method to know the history, language from the people also, not just through the books. And who are these people? So students like whom you are interacting on daily basis. So I remember how students also correct you. So there was this student, I asked her, you can also present in German language about some salient feature of your culture that you come from. So, and we will work on it together and we will see what we can achieve. So she came with the idea that she's interested in fashion and she wants to do something around the traditional attire of her community. Then I said, okay, so what is it called? Then I had this idea that in Assam it's only Mekhala Chadar. So then she corrected me about her community, and then she said it's called missing Mekhala Chadar.
Yes.
So I mean, I had to like, it was an awkward position, but then I had to open up. Okay, what she's saying is the first hand information that is coming to me,
Yes.
and which is an access to the language and the culture for me. And a student from that community is learning the language, talking about her traditional attire. That should be the most amazing thing.
Right.
When you are dealing with foreign language, European language, and in this region. So she actually presented it, beautifully presented it, how to drape it, what is this called, and we also translated few parts. So that was amazing, I would say.
Okay.
Another student, he wanted to do his presentation on rice field.
Rice field.
Yes, and I always give like, you can choose your topics, and then we had to sit together and work on the vocabulary around it. And because
That
he
sounds
came,
like a lot of fun.
yeah, so because he came from that specific region where this specific variety of rice is grown, and he take the pride and he wanted the world to know about it. And through the language, we could talk about it.
You guys. So absolutely, that is the most beautiful part about language, right? When we speak of a language, we are speaking about how people are living there, the ways of livelihood and the culture and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that is a very beautiful story. So speaking about how you learn from your students and how you do it in your classes, so what do you think are the very essential, traits or skills or qualities that a students should have? I mean, the basic traits to go about for a language throughout.
Okay, so since we are talking about at this level where we are at university, so yeah, 10 plus 2 is the requirement for learning the language. But the textbooks, if I talk about the textbooks that we refer to, they use direct method. German, through German. The medium of instruction is going to be German. But we are also lenient because we have here students from different language proficiency, and we try our best to also convey the structures, the features in the language if possible. So for instance, sometimes if needed, we also explain the same thing in English as well as in Hindi.
Okay.
And depends if any Assamese speaker is there, so that person is also motivated to explain. So but the textbook actually gives us the opportunity to uh, not make English as a medium of instruction.
Okay.
So that is the important aspect of it. But I would say, since we are talking about it, teaching and learning here at the university, then 10 plus 2 becomes the criteria.
That is the
And also whom we are teaching. So we are
Okay.
not teaching to children. We are not teaching to somebody who is like 12 years old or 13 years old. So we are already teaching to adults. So for adults, the textbooks are different.
right?
Yeah.
So also it's not only the language literature that you are teaching, right? So can you just shed a little light on your subject?
So it's about when you engage yourself with language, it's not just the language that you are engaging yourself with. You are also trying to understand the socio-cultural history of it. You are also engaging yourself with the politics of it. It depends where your interest lies. For instance, my call was literary texts and gender studies, for instance. Also Holocaust literature when I talk about, then history and literature both.
Right.
So it also gives you a different worldview
Okay.
in totality, and also you reflect on your own at the same time. So it's the combination of so many
all
things.
those
Yeah.
so there's history also, there are politics also, and then there's the language also, so it's like a bridge.
Yes, just to interrupt, like
Yeah, sure.
few years back we had one student. He was a singer.
Okay.
So for him it was like German songs and language. So it was an experiment for me also to bring the lyrics, the song text in the classroom and then convey. And he was the one who will fill it with melodies.
Okay.
And the Indian classical, and but your words are in German.
Wow.
So that was like a beautiful combination. So
Okay.
yeah.
That is like a very, I don't know, overwhelming information also, because connecting it with art in such a way, it's like weaving that thing.
Absolutely. It also lies, not each and every student is going to have one specific interest. So few, I think last semester only we had this group of students. They were interested in German football, which is like worldwide scene watched.
Yes.
And here in India also among youngsters it's quite popular. So they wanted to talk about it. Then I actually refrained them from talking about it in English. Then I asked them, if you are passionate about it, then why don't you talk about it in German?
Yeah.
So I mean, once you get to know the student and their interest, you can actually pitch into language part also.
Okay, wonderful. Do you think that apart from this formal education, are there any other alternative ways to pick up the language?
There are always. Language we acquire through environment, I would say. Depends in which context we are talking.
Okay.
So I will again bring you back to the context we are here at the university. So if we go beyond it, if we are in a society, so just to give you an example, those people not knowing the language, when they visit a country, for instance Germany, they acquire the language. And they acquire like very functional aspect of the language. So I have also seen people coming from Turkey and speaking very fluent German, but they can't read and write, but they speak the language. So environment is also equally
Very important.
But here we are talking about the formal, education, and then training the people.
So there are two different sides that how you want to take it up further. So it's not very limited. The fact that I learned from interacting with you and also sir and ma'am before on Chinese also, that what Tezpur University is doing is that it's not limiting it to just a specific path. It's not only about a language, but their interests, you bring their interest to the table and then you align it with the subject better, which is I think very, very, very beautiful. So talking of that, how do you think also, like you said, that the environment matters? So do you think that a person has to also visit to Germany, like to properly adapt to that, completely immerse themselves in that language? Do you think that is also kind of a
And also,
yeah.
just to add on to that, it's not the objective is not just to be fluent in language. For instance, if I just love to watch football or I just love music and I want to talk about it, so I will automatically, engage myself with this. Maybe I will be listening to the interviews given by football players or maybe musicians from Germany, and then gradually I will, pick up the language. So that can be done. For instance, in if I talk about myself, then my academic language is German. Okay, so I lack vocabulary sometimes when I speak English. And the first thing that comes to my mind is also German, because I have acquired this language before I could actually reflect on English. So German came first, English came later.
Okay.
So that also happens. So yeah.
Okay, so that is and you haven't visited Germany.
I have visited several times during my research, but I would say when a research scholar visits, her experience is different.
Yeah.
When workers visit, like when people visit and work there, their experience is completely different. Because as a research scholar, my interaction was with the academic world. For instance, I used to work in the library. I will interact and sit in the classroom. So it was a different setup. I know people, they moved to Germany and they have been working there, and their experience is quite different. Yeah.
So it's all depend from people to people, right?
Yes.
So moving ahead, if we look into the career perspectives and pathways that are available in this language, so what do you think? Like, is it stream agnostic, or do you need to come from a specific background to take up the course? Just the stream
opportunity here in India, or you are talking about
you can speak of that in general also, like the stream that they need to come from. Is it any particular field that they have to come from to learn a particular language?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There are people, they have left their engineering background and they did their masters in German studies.
Okay, so there are cases like that.
So you explore. You can also change your stream. It's like pure humanities, the way Hindi is being taught and then studied, literature and language and culture, everything. English is a established, department, for instance. Similarly, German studies is there. So it depends. If you are interested in the history, culture, then you can.
Yes, absolutely. So apart from Tezpur University, also any what all other good colleges or universities? Can you name any regarding German language teaching?
Like in Northeast India?
Northeast or in India also, because in Northeast there are not many options, I think, in German that I've worked. You could highlight a little on
like
that.
If you Shillong, they are offering programs in German, diploma, advanced diploma, certificate courses are there, and JNU Delhi, they actually lead the discipline, I would say, the domain. But then University of Pune, they also have like BA, MA and PhD programs. If you Hyderabad, BHU also has, and there are few colleges. They also offer, for instance, recently I got to know about in Bihar, and there is this institute that they have opened, and it is completely run by private firms but in collaboration with some government bodies, and they have started certificate program in German. So I was like curious, why specifically in this region? What is the motive? So they wanted the crowd to learn the language, and it might open up more job opportunities for them. For instance, people migrating from Bihar to another states and then going for different kinds of job. So maybe through language they can enable themselves to work in some specific MNCs. So that was the objective I could understand.
Okay, that is also a very, I think, interesting part, that why in Bihar they are doing that. But I think that is what we can call that they are connecting it to so many, and that also comes from a political cause or reason only, that they have to fill that spaces and get their people to those
so
spaces.
So that you can create lots of other opportunities also.
So there are a lot of avenues right now
I
in
would
that
say
field. Yes. So, any scholarship opportunities? I know that there are a lot of information available online, but then if it's coming from somebody who's experienced, and I think
I can tell you about higher studies. Okay, so
yeah.
there are different foundations like
Mhm.
Rosa Luxemburg Foundation, Friedrich Ebert Foundation, Hans Eidel Foundation. They provide research scholars scholarships to come and conduct their research.
Okay.
And there is this very prestigious
Mhm.
fellowship, Chancellor Fellowship.
Okay.
They give a very decent amount,
Mhm.
and you can also bring your spouse, your kids also along with you,
Mhm.
and it's like almost 3,000 euros if I'm not mistaken per month. And you get to conduct your postdoctoral or doctoral research there for a specific period of time, and the pressure is also to publish it.
Okay.
And not that much, but
Mhm.
of course it's like something that if you are working on, you need to publish later on.
Mhm.
So these scholarships enable, and there are lots of students not just from German studies, from various backgrounds. They
Okay.
can actually apply.
Avail this
They can apply
scholarships.
and avail. And
Right.
there is this uh, DAD, we say in German, DAD
That,
engineers.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So if you will go and check on the website, lots and lots of scholarships are available, from like 15 days scholarships to 2 years.
Okay. Okay. Right. So about you also did your PhD. So about your research experience, what was your topic then? Can you tell us a little and about the process, to get into that? If somebody wants to, apply for that. So what is the procedure mainly?
Okay, PhD in German studies.
Yes, in German.
Okay, so we say German studies.
German studies.
Okay, so after doing your masters, you have to clear your NET JRF, and even if not so, then you through entrance you enroll yourself in PhD program. That's what we all have done.
Yes, about
And
that entrance actually, that how do you prepare and what all
Okay,
you
for
have to
PhD.
break down, yes.
Okay, so now the thing is, you can, after your masters, you can enroll yourself for PhD. When I was doing MPhil, I did my MPhil and then enrolled myself in PhD. So through the entrance, and questions were asked from the domain like literature, linguistics, translations, everything. So they will ask everything, and then there was interview. So you need to work on your research proposal, very thorough work, and you might not pursue the same research topic later on, that's another story, but you have to defend it. You have to actually convince the interview board that you are interested in this research, in this topic, and where you are lacking, because in India your research topic and study material related to that might not be available, because you need to access it in German language. And our
So that
libraries
is also a challenge kind.
Yes, and I think more or less that applies to any foreign language in India. So if you are doing your PhD in Spanish, then of course you will have to visit after a point there somewhere in the library abroad for your research material. That's what the story is.
Okay.
So how I also did the same, and yeah.
Yeah, so before you get there, obviously you have to grab that formal education. You have to be aware with the language properly, because doing a research, doctoral research is a very completely different thing, right? So getting into that also requires an entrance exam to pass. So, to sit for a language entrance exam, you do not even know the language. You want to learn the language. So before knowing it, how do you sit for the exam? So
Okay, then you have to start from the BA program.
Yeah. Yes, about that.
Yeah. So BA entrance is like any other entrance test.
So you do not need to know the language.
No.
Okay.
If you are applying for German, Chinese, or any other language, you might, score wise, you might get the placement wherever you want to take the language. Which language has which score, that can be decided later on. But some aptitude tests are there. English proficiency is there. Yeah.
So English is needed. Yeah.
Not much, but workable English, I would say.
Yeah.
After +2,
Mhm.
because for German, even if you don't know English like properly, you can deal with it, because like I said, the textbooks actually allow you. This might not be the case with other foreign languages.
Right.
Yeah.
So, from your experience, what do you think that what are the still the gaps that are there in terms of foreign languages, like in context of Northeast, if we speak, that there are not many students yet, but there are enthusiastic people, but they do not really.
I would say gaps are like we need to have more programs, because I see the interest is there. I see the opportunities are there,
Right.
and also job opportunities are there, because there are schools, for instance, they want to also start German or Chinese or Spanish, like in international schools in Delhi. You will see these are the options given to the students in the school. But the problem is they need to hire some people, and in order to do so, they have to have people coming from Delhi, Bombay, or wherever they have learned the language, or nearby. If we have people or students from nearby towns, districts, equipped with the same training of teaching the language in the school, that makes more sense to me. Because closer to home, they get the opportunity of working in a school, and they stay there also for a longer period of time.
Okay.
So that's what I think that should be there, which is like missing, which is like a gap.
Yes, so that could address and fill those gaps. And also awareness is also, I think,
Awareness, people should know that okay, these are the places where they can go and learn language. And what do you do after
learning,
taking the diploma, advanced diploma courses? So you might get placement there in the school. So yeah.
Okay, so since we are already speaking of that, so we'll come to the job prospects that German studies allows. So, can you bring some points forward regarding that?
Okay, there are many. I mean, if we talk about market,
yes, the industry.
There is a lot. MNCs.
In Northeast also, can we say that? Can we say the same thing?
It depends. If we have companies here, we need to see the data. If we have companies here, then of course, and if they are hiring people, because they have their different segments for various other languages. So yeah, but I would say not much, because I have not come across.
But in the corporate sector, in the multinational companies, not in if not in Northeast, in India, there are a lot of options. Can you name a few?
For instance, they after doing your BA program, people work in Amazon.
The roles you can say like translator.
Basically, some go to the call center.
Okay.
And some work as translator and interpreters. I can tell you about one person who is an interpreter for this specific company. This company sells the technology to the Indian market, but they call the people if there is some problem in the machine. They call engineers from Germany, because they do. So when the engineers come here,
then they have to.
They need interpreters. So it's frequently they are needed. So some people take up those jobs. For instance, translating the technical terms. For that also people get hired, and translation projects of translating the literary text. These are also things people engage themselves with. Yeah.
Okay. So I have also learned that Tezpur University in general, what it does that in foreign languages it customizes its syllabus also according to because you have different kinds of target audience or the students coming. So can you say something about that? That how?
For German we have not done so far.
Okay.
But in future, if needed, that can be done. German language, acquiring the language and then going for some work, like learning the language for 6 months and then looking for some job, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So in Germany there is this thing called summer jobs.
Okay.
People apply for that also. It's not popular but popular. It's a kind of seasonal work.
Okay.
Because what happens in Germany during
Like summer
summers,
internship, summer jobs, those
No.
kind of roles.
what happens, they go on holidays because most of the year it's cold winter. So in summer they plan their trips. So automatically workers are not there. So for 3 months they hire
Okay.
people from outside
Yes.
Germany.
Germany.
And they hire also from South Asian regions. And their only criteria earlier was to have proficiency in the language.
In the language.
Yeah, so A1 level they say, or certificate German. So it was easy to get also. And some students they went, but some were not ready to do heavy work. So they had really bad experience also. Some were also expected to work in the fields they have never done so far. But some got a very decent job in a metro where they had to just entertain the customers in a shop.
Right.
So it's a different kind of,
Diverse roles.
Yeah, roles.
So we can also call it upskilling then. This is also a way of calling it upskilling, that the language also helps you in the other vocational sides, that you can go abroad and work.
Actually, yes. If you are talking about Germany, then they have come up with this new immigration laws.
Okay.
2023. It got implemented few days back only, the first round of it. So the bill was passed in the parliament in summer 2023, if I remember correctly. And then it gives the blue card to the skilled workers, laborers, because there are shortage of laborers in Germany. So they are now calling people from quote unquote third world countries, and they term it as skilled laborers. And what are these avenues? These are basically care industry, logistics. They are focusing, and they have also become little lenient about the language part. If you know little bit of German, that is also fine. You don't have to have the certificate level.
Okay.
Earlier it was the case, the certificate level. So you can land up there in Germany, you can work there, and at the same time you can visit some Sprachschule, the language school, and then learn the language. So they have become more lenient over the period of time. Yes.
Okay. So here, what is the course, German studies course duration?
So there are 3 programs. One is 2 programs are called open elective. One is skill enhancement course.
Skill enhancement. Okay.
Yeah.
So that
It is in alignment with NEP 2020.
Okay.
So we offer it, and so that students studying various other disciplines can opt for this specific course. And the main objective of this course is also to enable the student to talk about their daily needs
in German.
In German.
Okay.
Yeah. And they can express themselves about their families. They can talk about weather. They can talk about their state if they want to, and they can talk about, like I said, music, football, whatever the interest lies. So basically, enabling them to talk in German,
express,
but not in depth. At the very
focusing on
basic
the skill enhancement part. I think so that is getting very career, and that practical implementation is being done very beautifully. Yes. Okay, so I think we have almost touched all the points. So lastly, just we also have a section of entrepreneurship, and nowadays we are seeing a big boost in the entrepreneurship market. So do you think that this language also can be intertwined with this entrepreneurship industry in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
I have few examples where like the cultural exchange can take place, and the transfer of knowledge. One example that I can give is, for instance, if somebody is interested in the domain of preservation of food, how it's been done traditionally in Northeast India, and how traditionally it's been done in Germany. So if that exchange is possible, and we can expand our knowledge on the field. So so
that is a perspective.
Yes, and also to convert it into a business or some profit making bodies. I can say that few techniques, there are always projects going on For instance, a few techniques one can learn how to uh, do fermentation traditionally, how it's been done there in Germany, and how we can mix it with the
our
knowledge.
own.
Because here also in Northeast India, we have the tradition of rice beer, kiwi wine, and in Arunachal,
Yes,
for
yes,
instance. So how traditionally it's been done, they might be interested in that, and then how the entire domain of fermentation and the production of wine is there in the Rhineland area, for instance. So there can be something can be done.
Connected,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So, lastly, any advice for our students and the youths of Northeast in general? Any
Learn the
concluding
language,
words?
and it's I would say that if you have not take an attempt to learn a foreign language, so that you don't regret that this is not something that I haven't done, or this is something that I haven't done. So, and it will also enable you to look at the world from a different point of view. It's not just like I'm learning the language of the other. You might start from that, point. Departure point could be there, but after a point, that tension between self and the other also evaporates. So I think that is also very important to understand as human beings in this world. So yeah.
I think that is a very philosophical way of looking into it. So it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Same here,
And
yeah.
thank you. Please watch the video, and also we can connect you with her mentor here. I think if they have any queries, we can
Sure.
bridge that between us, and we'll surely collab more in the near
Yeah,
future.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.